I gotta wait. How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the stand, where Miss Dreme always has a story.
I'm Dreme, a black woman with many beautiful interconnecting identities. A few I will name at this moment as we get started on this podcast journey together. A Bostonian, born and raised in the inner city, Dorchester and Roxbury neighborhoods, to a teenage single mother who has my whole heart. An educator, I've been working with youth and children since my teenage years, and formally, I have been teaching almost a decade now. That's wild to think about. An entrepreneur, I am the founder of The Chair, a black and brown centered tech platform dedicated to supporting people on their hair journey, where you can design hairboards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a more joyous experience. I have a workable site, my prototype. It took me 2 years to build, and now I'm on this adventure that you're currently on with me. My goal for this podcast is to share stories, black stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and hair stories. I want you to leave each episode with the opportunity to gain new insight, just a glimpse into my world or the worlds that are featured on my podcasts, a little chuckle during your day or night, possibly a little anger to encourage you to advocate for justice, and hope to continue learning and dreaming. So come in and listen to the beautiful voices in the chair as they share their stories, starting with me.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Aaliyah. Aaliyah, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Aaliyah Brown.
We met many, many years ago at a camp, and one of the memories I have is that she was doing her own hair. She had these extremely, extremely long braids that she came to camp with, and she was slowly taking them out during campfire. So everybody's singing, and she's just slowly taking her hair out. It was just taking days just because she came in, and I was like, how is this lady supposed to play any type of sports, do any type of swimming with these braids all the way down to the floor? But it was just amazing how you just was just going about your day, just slowly taking out your hair. And we had these long walks when we had to walk to the lake. And I remember us just talking about what we wanted to do in life as we're just walking the streets of New Hampshire. So that's like my first core memory when I think about Aaliyah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
And I asked Aaliyah to be on the podcast, and I'm so excited she said yes. And I wanted to know, like, you've been working with kids for a very long time and choosing the route of social work and social services. And I wanted to know, did you always think that this was the path you were going to be on?
Yes, I do. However, I will say I don't work with children anymore. About a year ago, I made the transition to a community justice support center. So I work with individuals who are, my specialty is the individuals who are still incarcerated. So I help to prepare them for reentry. However, we also service people who are on probation and parole, and giving them the tools that they need to stay out of jail. So we do a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, lots of classes, you know, checking in case management, things like that.
You've worked with little kids all the way up to teenagers, young
Mhm.
adults. Now, why take a turn into working with like incarcerated adults?
So I think the change happened shortly after I gave birth to my son. I started to deal with a lot of postpartum depression and anxiety, and I realized that a lot of it was coming from the fact that I cared so much about other people's children, and I wasn't granted the opportunity to spend all day every day with my own. So I think I needed to take a step back for my own mental health just so, I could focus on being a mom to my kid and not, trying to mold other people into being the parents that their children needed.
I think about this and I wonder what your opinion is on it, right? Because I've talked to other moms who've, after they've had kids, they completely switch fields, or
Mhm.
they decide to take on a different type of role that isn't stressful on their heart. And
Mhm.
now that you're working with incarcerated adults, do you feel that your heart is still under a lot of stress?
Yes, however, I do feel like it's easier for me to leave work at work.
Mm,
Like I'm not taking it home and, holding on to that. There are some people who, I might think about when I'm outside of work. However, it's not going home for on a Friday and worrying about whether or not a kid is going to be safe all weekend.
mm,
Um, so I think it's a different kind of worry, and it's not like these are adult people who are capable of doing and being who and what they want to be. So in a sense, it's easier to just leave that there. Children is it's harder because they don't get a choice.
mm. Do you feel like your identities have impacted the field you decided to enter into?
Almost definitely, 100%. I think when I was working with the little children, a lot of that had to do with the type of attention, and I wanted to be what I didn't have.
Mm,
And then making the transition to working with the incarcerated population, that had a lot to do with my father and his time being in prison. And, coming from the city of Philadelphia, there are tons of people around me who have been in and out of prison. So to know that I'm helping or, connecting with people who have been in this type of situation that my father's been in, it's rewarding work.
mm. Yeah, I think about growing up with a single mother, and every time I was teaching kids who came from single parent homes, like at
Mhm.
first kids would always be so ashamed and to be able to say like, "Oh, I only have one parent at home." And then so it became like a mission of mine to be like, "Hey, let me teach you family dynamics." Right? Like
Right,
let me teach you the differences. Having one parent doesn't mean you get less love. Like you can
right.
look at love differently. You can look at a family differently. Like my mother had these three best friends at the time, and they each had 5 kids. And so I technically grew up, there was 12 of us all together all the time.
Wow.
So it never felt like it was just my sister and I. And then like there were 3 single women. And so if I got in
Mhm.
trouble at school, I did not only get in trouble by mom, I got in trouble by Auntie
Mm.
Digna and Auntie Lisa. Like
Right.
I knew it was gonna happen. So I felt like that was like a mission for me when it came to
Mhm.
thinking about teaching different family dynamics for kids.
Right.
But
I can't imagine 12.
yeah. you know, I was like, Mommy, why can't we have more sleepovers? As an adult, I completely understand why she said no, like 50% of the time. Um So I get that now. When you think about the work you do now, if someone wanted to enter into this type of work, what advice would you have for them?
I think the most important thing is to let go of your expectations of how you feel people should show up. Genuinely meeting people where they are and just allowing them the space and opportunity to figure things out on their own is very helpful, and it will decrease your level of burnout because I don't want to, get too personal, but I've worked with some people who are like, no, they should be doing it X, Y, and Z. And then when they realize that they're never going to do it the way that you want them to do it,
Mm,
um, like you're just causing a lot more headache for yourself. Because again, these are adults who are making choices and decisions, and we don't get to control that.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, It's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hairboards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new, joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hairboards made by people like you, for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress-free. Join the chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair. The chair. The chair. All right.
I was talking to Dwyer yesterday, and she's also in, the social work world.
Mm-hmm.
But she's doing residential. And
Mm-hmm.
she talked about how the hard part about working in residential is that there are so many different dynamics, and you're constantly thinking about the layers and perspectives of people, where they're coming
Mm-hmm.
from, who they are, what their family structure was like, what
Mm-hmm.
supports they have, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when I think about someone like you who is also working in this social work, social services area, how do you have the compassion and the grace for the populations you work with, as you know that their stories are layered and complex?
There we go. So I think I've adopted just in my own life, and through work, radical acceptance. It is what it is.
Mm,
I can't change it. I can't worry about, what I want it to be. I can't worry about what it was. I have to be in this moment and, get through it. And I think when you can keep that composure, it helps your clients be able to keep that composure as well. And they start to adopt that mindset. It might not be, instantaneously. However, when everything isn't catastrophized, it helps them to slow down and be in the moment and thoroughly, think about their emotions. And I'm a straight shooter, so
mm-hmm,
like I'm not I'm not just gonna sit and let someone, yell and scream because they had a terrible day. All right, you upset. That's fine and all, but you came here for a reason. So are we gonna accomplish our goal, or are you just gonna sit here and, complain and cry about it? So I think that that kind of helps, and just trying to be open minded and relatable. We not in this by ourselves. So
how do you be relatable? What does that look like?
Um, for me, I think it comes pretty naturally. It's I don't pretend to be something that I'm not.
Mm,
I'm not walking around pretending that I'm holier than thou. We've all been somewhere that we didn't want to be.
mm,
It's just a matter of how you get through it. And my struggle may not look like my client's struggle. However, I'm pretty sure that 9 times out of 10, I've come across somebody who's experienced the same thing or is experiencing something similar, and just sharing space, giving the opportunity to allow people to either talk about it or not. Like I have so many clients who have done very well, and then they get close to the end of their term on papers, and everything starts to fall apart. So it's like, yeah, I might be disappointed. However, there's something inside of you that is causing you, to behave in this way.
mm.
And it's just a matter of you trying to figure that out. What is it? Why do you keep repeating these patterns? and I'm willing to ride that wave with my clients. Like I'm not trying to force somebody to be who they aren't.
Mm.
So really just embracing every aspect of the person.
Mm. I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
thanks.
No, it makes me think about like I'm not working with incarcerated adults. When I was interning at the juvenile justice like program in Chicago, like detention center, and I had to
Mhm.
work on like the house arrest floor, and I was always constantly having conversations with the adults, and they're like, don't invest too much in the kids. They'll be back in a couple months. And I was like, no, I'm going to talk to them. And then when those same kids came back in a couple months, they were like, see, we
Mhm.
told you. But for me,
Right.
that made it even more of a goal of mine to continue talking to the kids, because I'm like,
Mhm.
if I'm not talking to them and they're coming
Who
back, that
is?
means who's talking to them at home? Who, if their
Yep.
probation officer doesn't have any hope in them, and these kids are from age 8 to 18, if they don't have hope in
Mhm.
their probation officer, if they don't have hope at home, if they don't have hope at school, because I had a manila folder that I would have to fill out and ask questions, and one of the
Mhm.
questions were like, how many days of school you missed,
Right.
and the kids would miss, what I mean, months and months of school. And then it'd be like,
Mhm.
okay, who do you have to support you at home? If they couldn't even give me one person. So I'm like, who is supposed to support this 12-year-old?
Right. Right.
Right. And I'm like, if I'm supposed to support them for the next hour or two, I'm gonna try to
Mhm.
do the best of my ability to do that, even if it's
Yep.
just to listen.
The chair.
Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a Black woman and educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere: Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show.
The chair.
My podcast, of course, it's called The Chair, and it's meant for people to share stories about their worlds. And at the same time, a part of that world is hair. And I wanted to know, do you remember the first time you fell in love with your hair?
I do. I had two little space puffs because growing up there weren't very many hairstyles that I could rock because I was very tender headed. Um, and it was, I know that we're not supposed to say it, but it was nappy. Um, so I didn't want nobody doing my hair. So my mom would always do, it was usually one puff ball, but she did two puff balls and one little braid in the front. And ooh, when I tell you I felt so cute. Um, that was the first time I think I fell in love with my hair.
And do you remember how old you were at that time?
I think I was probably about 5 or 6.
Mm. And
Mhm.
from there, do you think that you constantly fall in love with your hair?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like my hair is a huge part of my identity. And it's changed so much just over the course of my life. Like my hair, the styles, the phases, all tell a story, you know, of what I was going through at the time and why I had the hair that I had. So I think it was always a cycle of just exploring and trying to find ways to express myself because my hair was pretty much the only way that I could express myself.
Mm. I remember when you were blonde. I remember
Hmm.
when you shaved the sides off. I
Hmm.
remember when you dyed it red and then chopped it off.
Hmm.
I always remember you braiding some kid's hair at camp. And like when they figured out you could braid, oh, it was over. There was always a line at like right before lunch, every meal, during challenge time. You see, oh, there's Aaliyah braiding some kid's hair.
Yep.
Do you feel like you are creating connection every time you happen to help somebody else do their hair?
Most definitely. And I don't think that it was ever intentional. Like I'm going out to create a connection or I'm looking to create a connection with hair. It was kind of just like, you need your hair done? All right, I got you. um and then, the whole process of sitting and talking to people. And I think our hair, it's our crown. You don't just let anybody put their hands in your hair.
Mhm.
So to have the opportunity to be so close and intimate with a person and doing that is pretty special.
My podcast is called The Chair and my platform is called The Chair, but originally the original name was called Growing Hands. And
Hmm.
growing hands was a phrase that was said a lot where I'm from, around all the black people, saying that, oh, your
Hmm.
hairstylist has growing hands. When you go to so and so, they will have growing hands, and it like your hair just feels healthy and it's happy,
Hmm.
and it just like loves that hairstylist because they are just taking care of you. And I think that's, for me, that's always been one of the most like powerful things about a hairstylist or the relationship with anybody who you are letting into your hair.
Yeah, and I feel like it's definitely my crazy is gonna show when I say this, but there's definitely like an energy transfer. Just allowing somebody to play in your hair, be in your hair.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had someone touch my hair in the last 4 years. When they shut everything down for COVID, I locked it up, and I haven't had anyone touch it since.
Mm. I don't.
And that's about to change on Friday.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy, right? I think when people are touching you, like there's that
Hmm.
especially for those who feel really intensely.
Right.
That energy is there. So you're going to have someone twist your hair?
No, I'm cutting it off.
After 4 years of locks, what's going on? Why are we
Yeah.
cutting it?
So I want a change. I wanted to cut my hair after I gave birth to my son. However, I didn't want him to not be able to recognize me.
Mm,
So I held on to my locks and they grew really long. However, I combined a bunch of them. So they're not very uniform. And I want them bigger. So I'm gonna cut it off, rock a shortcut for a little while, grow it back, and then I'm gonna lock it again, but I'm gonna make them bigger and I'm probably gonna palm roll because I've been interlocking and that's a
mm.
lot of work when you are a mom working and in school. So,
Did you feel like after having your son that your hair changed at all?
um, no, no, not too much. I mean, it's hard to tell the change with the locks.
Okay.
And well, I don't know if you remember, but when I started my locks, I had curly ends.
Yes, you
Um,
did. Hmm.
I got tired of maintaining the curly ends, so I cut off a bunch of the curls. And then they just started growing. I originally got the locks because I thought, if I lock it, I don't have to do it. Yeah, that's not the case. um, especially when you're interlocking. So I'll go a really long time without touching my hair, and I think that's another reason why I want to cut it so that I can get back to giving my hair the attention that it needs.
Mm. Are you excited for this next journey?
I am.
Oh,
I am.
I'm so excited for you. Well, thank you, Aaliyah, for sitting in the chair and sharing your stories. I truly, truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dream always has a story.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I, of course, would love your continued support. Let me know what you think of this episode by doing all the things. Subscribe, comment, and come back next week, every week. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. Or if you are like me, enjoy that moonlight and that one star under all your city lights. Love you. Talk to you later.
The chair.
How long I gotta wait for a person to record? Go. We support her.
Do your.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dreme always has a story. Where we share